Okay, in 2014, I was dating a very, very nice guy. He was still in school, and then because we had issues of distance, I didn't see him as frequently as I would have liked to, which is where this main person stepped in. He drove by my house. He had a very loud car. So every time he would drive by, there was no way. Right. So that I don't know. It was exciting. It was exciting, and I ended up falling into this thing with him and neglecting my other relationship. So this guy was not. He was not an attractive somebody. Uh, I can honestly say the only thing that drew me to him was the fact that he had time. All he had was time on his hands. So every errand that I had to run, he was available, and he would take me wherever I needed to go and help me do one, two, and three. And then I was living with both my mother and two of my cousins. One who happened to be a male cousin. So me and this cousin of mine were very close, still are. But apparently it was a problem for this guy because he felt like we were too close. At some point, he suggested that we were sleeping together. But anyway, so this one time, another group of my cousins comes to my house, and then we are chilling, and then we run out of drinks, right? And then I asked my boyfriend at the time to take me to wherever we need to go get the drinks, and then we go together, right? So as we are in the car, something happens. He tells me that he doesn't like it when I'm around my cousins. I am different. He's Zulu, by the way. So now when I'm around my Zona cousins, we are speaking too fast for him. He can't figure out what we are saying, and then we are laughing, and then he thinks that it's personal. He thinks we're talking about him. So he was having feelings about that, right? And then I tell him, "Hi man, you're crazy. There's no such." At that time, I am with my 2-year-old son, right? My son is sitting on my lap, and this guy is driving. So now, as I am telling him, "No, man, you are being ridiculous. There's no such. You are imagining everything that is happening." And then he slaps me. It came as a shock. I was not expecting it, especially because now my son is on my lap. If my son looked into my eyes, he didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what to say. And like we just froze. I just stared at him with my mouth open. And then he tells me, "Hore, no, umjayela kabi, ningenzi slim, awena namakazini wakho, this, that, and the other, you know." And then I'm like, "You know what, it's fine. Kuponkise high, right?" And then we finish what we're doing, we get the drinks, he takes us home. And then we walk into the house like everything is normal. We start drinking and okay, but yeah, I mean, that situation passes. He apologizes for it the next day. He didn't know what he was thinking. He didn't know what he was doing, this, that, and the other. And unfortunately, I forgave him. So now my mother is in the process of getting married. And then at some point, Mama gets married. I'm left alone with my cousins in the house. Mama has moved to where she's married. And now it comes to a point where now we need to sell this house because my mother can't take care of 2 households. So we sell the house. As we sell the house, my cousins disperse to other relatives' houses. And then now my boyfriend says to me, "You know what, let's move in together," right? Okay, I agree to that. His father helps us out with the deposit, and his dad actually even helps us get work because we were both not working at the time. Okay, we move in together, we get work, but because he is this spoiled brat, he didn't work for long. I think he only kept the job for a week, inconsistently even. And then I stayed. I keep on working. He drops me off at work. He picks me up until he decides that he is not comfortable with me working when I'm not there because there are men there and the men might, or the men are going to ask me out and flirt with me and do this, that, and the other. So then he says, no, you are going to stop working. I'm like, but now income, how are we going to? He's like, no, I'll take care of you. It's okay. He's not working at that time. He's also depending on his dad. But anyway, I have stopped working because now it's becoming a problem in the house. Okay. So now I am always home. This person is always agitated. He's frustrated about this, that, and the other. Unaware that he was actually taking drugs. I didn't know this. I also find out at the end of everything. Okay, so his mother had passed away a few months before that, right? So after his mom's passing, he gets this lump sum of money, and he goes crazy. We go on shopping sprees. He even buys me a car for my birthday. Like, life is good, well, for the most part. But now, I think within a month and a half of him getting that, it was quite a lot of money. Within a month and a half of him getting that money, now all of a sudden, like, I remember one morning I wake up and there was no electricity, right? Like 0.9 kilo somethings left in the meter box. And then I say to him, how walk up and he's like, okay, sharp. And then he leaves. He spends the whole day wherever he is. When he comes back with electricity, 20 rand, right? I think that's when I realized, something is wrong. Whereas every day from the time he received this money, he would shower, leave the house wearing shorts, flops, a t-shirt, and then he would go into a store in the mall, buy clothes from socks, sneaker, jean, t-shirt, cap, as well as that sheet. And he would come out looking fresh, smelling fresh. So he kept this up for that whole month. But even though he was shopping every other day, that was a whole lot of money. It couldn't have just gone to clothing. But anyway, so one of I actually ended up not going out with him to party anymore because he was always saying, hey, that guy was looking at you, you were winking at that guy. So it was always a scene when we went out. So I ended up not going out with him anymore and staying and drinking in the house alone. But then I realized, even in my staying in the house, it was a problem. I would be sitting in the house watching TV, and then he would come in and say, he heard me talking to some guy on the phone. Gonna go, my phone is in the bedroom or not even near me. And then I started realizing, something is wrong. This is not normal, right? And then the unit across from us, balcony. So when I'm sitting in the house and it's hot, I'd open the balcony and then and then he would be on some, hey, you are flashing the guy across. Hey, you and this guy are sleeping together. La jola, lezang. Mind you, this guy is living with his wife and children. But should his balcony be open at the same time that my balcony is open, then we are having a problem. It means we are doing something when he's not around. So anyway, and then because we would never go out, I at some point say to him, you know what, because I'm always in the house, how about you say your friend Spani Bani comes over with his girlfriend and then we all chill together, right? Okay, and then we agree to that. We get meat, we buy drinks, we are chilling. And then he steps outside, I'm assuming to smoke, right? He goes outside, he smokes, he comes back inside, and then his friend's girlfriend is sitting on the couch. His friend is coming from the bathroom, going to his girlfriend, and he says that he just saw me and his friend kissing. How, Matat? What is this now? You know? So it just got rowdy, and then the friend had to leave, and then I obviously got slapped around, and but then, yeah, now I'm seeing bit by bit that something is not right. Okay. And then his female cousin, right, comes to me and says, I'm going to a friend's, a cousin's 21st birthday party. Theme is all white. So ke kopong khape ko Joburg ko batla outfit. I know you are familiar with Josie. And I'm like, okay, sharp. I tell his cousin, for no, cousin ako areke mo khape 1 2 3 1 2 3, and he's all peaches with it. Oh no, that's great. Okay, fine. So on the day that the cousin comes, the day before we're supposed to go to town, cousin comes, I go to cousin, and then I'm like, okay, no, tomorrow we'll leave at this time, wara. Boyfriend goes out and then comes back. When he comes back, he's like, so, ninzanjani kusasa, yaba. So we tell him, oh, no, this, that, and the other. Hopefully we'll find, okay, lilo thoka bokae. I know, we tell him, I know, roughly. And then he says, Lona lenketsa ditlela. How? And then all of a sudden, what has changed? He's like, no, wena cousin, you are taking my girlfriend to town, how? And now what is this? Right? At this point, we are at his father's house, right? And that's where the cousin came to. That's where we were meeting. And then he's getting rowdy. So because I know what is coming after these accusations, I move away from him. As I move away, he slaps his cousin. Okay, and I run to his dad's bedroom. I call him for, hey, his dad comes. At this point, he is pulling his cousin's braids out. He is slapping her. He is kicking her on the floor. Like he's slapped me before. He has never kicked me. He has never. So that was something scary and different for me even. So the dad comes in. Daddy is diabetic, right? So nasina matla. He comes, arwa mokhalemela, and then he took his dad and he pushed him across the room. His dad fell down and hurt himself. I think that's where I realized, there is no way out of this. Like, if you can do that to your dad, then nobody can tell you anything. You know, down. Right? So he beat his cousin black and blue. And his dad now had to beg the cousin not to go home because should the cousin go home, and the parents, Mamona and Zayana, they are going to come and they are going to give his son a beating he has never seen in his life. Right? Okay, so I remember that my boyfriend even ended up giving her money as a bribe. No, 5,000 shopping after you have healed and so she had to stay there for I think 3 weeks so that the bruising can go away before she could go home. But anyway, and then there came a night where I don't remember what transpired on that night, but I remember it was one of the nights where he actually didn't hit me. But he was so close to hitting me. And I think around 3 a.m. I was so scared. I ran to the balcony and I called my mother. She picks up, and the moment she says hello, I think that's when I realized, shit, I shouldn't have done this. What's going on? And then Mama, akona sepe, sorry. It's like akona sepe. Mistake, sharp. But because my mother was in an abusive relationship with my father, she knew exactly what was going on. And then she didn't call me back because from the pattern of my dad's abuse, she knew that if your phone rings and you are with this person and it rings at this time, whether ikwadile mama or ikwadile papa, this guy is automatically going to say, oh, your boyfriends are calling you and obakwetse bo mama le bo papa so that I don't see that you are talking to your boyfriends. Your mother wouldn't call you at this time. Like, it got to a point where my mother was scared to call me even during the day because she was scared that her calling me would mean that this person might turn it into something that it's not and accuse me of something that isn't happening. So I think a month later, my mother came at Lile's idea, she's like, can I see you? And then I'm like, okay, but I'm going to come with this person. And she's like, no, it's fine. Come with this person. I know the situation, so I'm going to act normal. I swear, from the moment we stepped out of the car, my mother was smiling. He even hugged this guy just so that he wouldn't pick up what she knows what is going on. I'm doing this with a big smile. Hey, ninja, I hope she just put up this whole facade in attempt to protect me so that he doesn't know that she knows what is going on. And then he drops me off and then he leaves because relaxed, nothing can go wrong, right? And then I sat down with my mother and I cried. I told her everything that had been going on and she understood and she was not happy. But now the situation at the time didn't allow for me to move at that time, right? So Kanti Mama, when she leaves, she was strategizing and figuring out a way. Sometimes when I call her, because when I call, then she knows it is safe. Even though when the phone rings, because she's thinking, hey, what if Babulaya Wanage? And maybe she's calling because she's in panic or something wrong is happening. So every time I would call, she was unsettled, right? But anyway, I called my mother this one time and she's like, whatever happens, we are getting you out of there, but you must not let this person know that you are leaving him. Everything must be normal. He must not know. Because yeah, and then I think I continued staying with this person for a month and a half, probably after that. And then my mom continued not calling me. Hey, I remember this one incident. I would collect my son on weekends, right? Because we were staying at his dad's place. I would collect him on weekends. So this Friday I go with this guy, we go and collect my son and then we come home. After he drops us, he decides and he's going to chill with the guys. Okay, fine. He leaves. And then me and my son eat, watch TV, and then eventually go to bed, right? So now we sleep, we wake up in the morning. When we wake up in the morning, this guy comes in, he is drunk, and he says to me, where were you last night? So now I'm shocked. Where was I last night? Where could I have gone? Because the only time we left, and then I came back, and then ran until Rerobar. Then he says, no, I came home in the early hours. And as I was entering the complex, I saw a car come out and you were sitting on the passenger seat. So now I'm thinking, okay, and then how am passenger sitting? What did you do? He's like, no, and then I came inside, and then I came inside the house. I'm like, okay, so did you check the bedroom? Yes, I checked the bedroom. What did you see when you checked the bedroom? I don't know, I saw the baby sleeping. Hey, Batom, you saw this little person sleeping on the bed and you did not see this big person sleeping next to this little person. It's like, no, I only saw the baby. Hey, Batom, so now I am that crazy that I left my 3-year-old son sleeping. I think then I was like, no, this is beyond. I don't know. I didn't know what to call it, but he was psychotic now. Okay. And then another experience, a friend of mine comes and we decide, no man, let's go and have lunch, go stay at the mall. So Harare go spare, this guy is like, no, it's okay, Zamayang, have fun. Okay. Now, as we are preparing to leave, he then now says, or maybe he thought that we were looking too pretty, maybe to be going to spare. I don't know. But then he's like, how? We're not okay, cool, fine, fair. Because arguing with him was not going to get me anywhere. So he comes with us, we go to spare, we sit down. The waiter comes, gives us menus. As we are looking at the menus, waiter comes back and says, "Are you ready to order?" How? Now all of a sudden we are winking at the waiter. Hey, ke go bone o smile le waiter, o tsipele leihlo, oh nyabona iplan yenu benzohlangana nalo mfana. Hey batho, na re yanong gate go iragalang. So now my friend is asking, what is going on? I knew that, it was done. I stood up, I took my bag, and I was like, let's go. Got a friend, if you are staying, stay. I am going home. I know how this is going to end. So I walk out. This guy comes in behind me. I am fuming. I am now fed up. Or you know what? No, fuck this. I cannot live like this. When I walk out, I get into the car, and he is still insisting, "Hori, Lona, you guys were planning to do 1, 2, 3, and I got so pissed off. I hit my phone against the dashboard, and then patlanga, and then I was phoneless. But I really didn't give a fuck because I had reached my wit's end, and I didn't know what to do, what not to do. Because with this person, I don't know, his insecurities were on another level. To a point where he buys me a car every time I leave. The complex that we stay in, you open ka phone, like you call the gate number and the gate opens. He was the only one who had access to that number. I didn't have it. Well, I had the number, but it's not connected to the gate. So there was nothing that I could do. So every time I leave the complex, I have to call him and tell him to call the gate to open so I can leave. Every time I come back. So now he times, okay, and then you are calling 20 minutes later, okay, it means she went where she said she was going. I would leave, he calls the gate, he opens, I go out, I go to the mall, I get my hair done. I remember one time I got my hair done. I was looking nice. But because I had this fear in me of a guy coming to me and saying hi, and him knowing that a guy spoke to me in the mall and it being a big blow up and whatnot, I would go get my hair done and come out of the salon. Like I didn't want to look at anybody. I didn't want anybody to recognize me or see me or even talk to me, especially a guy. I would rush to the car, get in the car. And even while I'm at the salon, I would have to send him a text and update him. Oh no, there's one person in front of me. No, now I'm getting my hair done. Just so that he could also have a record of, okay, no, she's done now. No, she's doing this now. So that he could say, okay, more 30 minutes in, she did this, and I was able to account for everything that I was doing. But anyway, okay. And then came the day where it was time for me to leave, right? So my mom calls. She didn't give me a heads up, mind you. She calls and she's like, we are coming to chill with you. I'm like, okay, no stress. So I call him. He wasn't in the house. I call him and I tell him, no, my mom is around. She says she's coming to see me. No, cousin and my aunt. Oh, okay, no stress. So when I call you, okay, no, fine. So when they get there, I call him. He opens the gate. They come in. But now, because he's not around and my mom is coming, he actually came to check who had come to visit me. Okay, so they come in. Surprisingly, my mom, my aunt, and my 2 cousins, they come in 3 different cars, right? They all come from the same place. They're all going back to the same place. They come with 3 different cars, not knowing. Okay, Shapo, they come in, Bantu Medisa, and then my mom sees me. Her face lights up, like, relief, okay, since I feel it type of thing. They come in, just after they sit down, he comes in. He comes in, Wadu Medisa, this, that, and the other. And then he's like, okay, no, Shapo, So he goes outside. When he goes outside, my mother sits down and he's like, and then, okay, cool. So now Lena, I am in panic mode. Surprisingly, a part of me was not ready to leave. I didn't want to leave. I get it why. But I think it was also a thing of little Nzaya Kisa guy, and then what's going to happen with me. I don't like what is going to happen to me. Okay, fine. And then I think I gave my mother like 2 or 3 excuses why I couldn't leave at that point. We are not leaving here without you. Okay, child. And then boyfriend is outside, and then he calls me. And he's like, how? And then I go outside. As I go outside, he's like, what's going on? What's going on? What do you mean? Like, what gives you that impression? He's like, no, I just have a feeling. And then he's sitting in the car. I'm standing by the window of the car. And then I just felt the need to step away from him before Kiwara. So I took 2 steps back, and then I'm like, hey, and then he cries. Chicken shit. He cries, hey, you can't leave me, wara, mina yonsala nobani, nyaktanda, this, that, and the other, anye pinda wenzagale, hey, this, that. I'm like, it's too late. For next confidence, hey, bruh, get her back up, like, fuck you. So then I walk away from him, and he's like, you know what? Okay, before Nhamba, like, please don't leave until my dad comes. So I'm like, okay, not that your dad coming is going to make a difference because le papa ho amopalla. So I'm like, okay, that's fine, we'll wait for your dad. So I go back inside the house, and then I let them know, no, re ka nna ra simolla ra puta. Mara a ro kopa hore ke ka tsamaya papa ge we tlo tsa papa. And then my parents are like, okay, no problem, re tla ba enela. Yano ra thota yana. Se ke sa mang maswana ke amang di hartene we tsing ka di curtain go tsewa di bedi, like, we are taking stuff now, taking them to the car. It's all one big joke. We are laughing about it. It wasn't nice, but anyway, and then his dad comes. It's my aunt, my mom, and his dad, Babu Akafo, and then they call us, and then we go into the room. Then they say his dad is like, wait, different. Hey, please don't leave him. And then I said to his dad, but what you just said made me realize for how because you know what I'm going through with your son. And Luena, you can't do anything to stop him. Yet you are begging me to stay with the very same person again. And he's like, no, it's not like that. He's worse when you are not around him, this, that, and the other. And I was like, no, wait, I'm not doing that. I'm not sacrificing myself for him. And then his son starts crying. So as he's crying, he is murmuring, I'll go to rehab. I'll get help. So I know and then go rehab, I'll get help. Okay, we understand you need counseling. But now, why do you need to go to rehab? And then he's like, no, lama drugs you are so hey bana. Kanti bile o pay drugs monna kwena. Hey batho. Okay, now we are all shocked. Hey, no, this explains what has been going on. Wara. Okay. But the fact of the matter is, I am still leaving. Mama, I don't know. There's no way I'm leaving my daughter here. I have had miserable months and sleepless nights. So I'm not going to lose another night of sleep because of the situation. Okay, cool. And then we finish packing, and then his dad says to me, okay, can you help him with the rehabilitation process? I'm like, what does helping him entail? And he's like, no, for rehab, make sure that he gets the help. Like, just hold his hand. Like, you know what? I'll do that for you, but I am not staying with him any longer. Okay, cool. So we agree, how we will go and find a place and get him help and this, that, and the other. So as we are leaving now, it's like, okay, Zaya Koloi, right? His dad is like, no, take the car. I'm like, no, I am good. Thank you very much. I don't know, Mari, I'm like, yeah, I'm aware of that. It was one of his ways of controlling me. If I am to take this car, he's going to monitor where I go, how long I am there. So I wouldn't feel safe driving around in this car knowing that he bought it, so he can keep it. And then he says, no, but ni tenye tanda. Like, I know, even with that, it's okay. Keep it. I do not need it. And then we packed up and we left. And then a week later, on the Monday, as I had promised, Iberia, Robatla, Tuso, I think we went to Senka. We got there, and then Iberia Namofati, this lady, and then she was asking, okay, so who's here for the help? And what's this guy? What is the problem? No, I'm taking drugs. And she's like, what is your drug of choice? Right? And then he says, crystal meth. Okay, now I know nothing about crystal meth. But then when she says that, then I remember there was a time I was holding his phone and the back of his phone was not closing, right? So I opened the back of his phone to check for why phone is right? As I open it, there's this clear plastic with little crystal granules, like rock salt, but I didn't know what it was at the time. But anyway, and then I asked him about it, and he's like, no, I lama chitang ploma now, bang bambise lento, what. And then I believed him, right? And then I put it back in the cover, and then I closed his phone and I gave it back to him. So now when he says what his choice of drug is, then that memory comes back. Oh, okay. And this, mind you, was 6 months ago. So, but anyway. And then this lady asked me, do you know what the symptoms of crystal meth are? Like, do you know how to tell that a person is taking crystal meth? I'm like, no, I don't know. They hallucinate. They hear things and they see things. I couldn't help but break down, because I think that's when I realized all this rubbish that I had been going through was because of this drug, because he would accuse me of being on the phone, of hearing me talking to people, of seeing people touch me or seeing me wink or touch other people. So, yeah. And then now it came to the part where they were now going to discuss how he is going to get his treatment. Now he is trying to tell them how he wants to take his treatment. He's not going to sleep there. He's not going to stay there. He'll come there every day. They'll call him and he will come and he will do whatever counseling and they will flush out with whatever. And then I realized this person is not serious. He is not serious about taking any of this or getting out of this situation that he's in. And then that was the last. They made a follow-up appointment with us. I called him. I told him I'm not going to the appointment with him, but I told him I would remind him. But when the day came, he didn't show up, and that was that. He would come to my aunt's place, play loud music, call me non-stop, beg me to come out until I changed my number, and I would never go out to see him. I think eventually he gave in. He realized that it was not going to happen. So then that's how that ended. But basically, I was forced out of that relationship. I don't think I would have been able to come out, especially because I wasn't allowed to work, because he wanted to hold on to me and control how I do what. So I don't have an income. He controls what I buy, when, and how. And yeah, so that is me, and that is my story.